people assume that we can't criticize the industry without being misogynist.
And you understand, you're defending a girl.
Boy.
We are gathered here today to mourn the loss of a bro podcast that was around for too many videos too long. We are here to celebrate the short-lived life of the Reality Check podcast and its three absolute muppets who run the show. Now, I'm not often one to celebrate people's downfall. Now, that's not true, actually. But I'm not one to celebrate people's downfall unless it's very much deserved. And I don't always think that people can't redeem themselves. I think mistakes can be made online and you can recover from them. But I fear these mistakes may have been a little too dirty for my liking. And to summarise, if you saw my last video, you would have seen the absolute abomination that was the Reality Check podcast, bringing on Rebecca Goodwin, the OF girl who ended up crying after she was berated by these horrible little toads for half an hour. And then obviously with this podcast being released, they genuinely saw this and thought, yeah, that's mint. I'll post that, despite the fact that we made this woman cry. They genuinely still thought, yeah, no, it's fine, we'll post it. We won't get backlash. Because we all know they thought, well, it'll be fine because the general public will have our back. Ooh, how the turns have tabled. So Rebecca Goodwin came on after the podcast to basically show her feelings towards the situation. So we'll watch that. And then we'll watch these three absolute heads come on live stream and try and defend themselves by debating randomers, including me. Yeah, of course, Katiclyzm's get a fat fucking nose in everyone's business. Couldn't help myself. So yeah, sit tight, I guess.
They showed me a patch of water on their sofa where they made the last guest. They then decided to talk over me the whole podcast so that I couldn't say anything. They told me that I was a waste of space and I did nothing for society. I mean this with all disrespect, the Reality Check show, but I paid £238,000 in tax last year. What the f*** did your podcast do for society?
So yeah, you get the gist. I don't want to show her video too much. Go check out her account. She talks about it more. I don't want to steal her spotlight, so I'll let you guys go and see that if you want to see it. But you get the gist. She did this podcast. If you've seen my last video, you'll understand a little bit more. They were very disrespectful. If you watch the podcast, you'll understand that it isn't just some slight kind of underlying misogyny. It's like genuine, just cretin behaviour. And then I was like checking out their account because loads of people were reacting to it. The clips were blown up because it's like, well, why the hell on earth did you think it was a good idea to post this video of you making this woman cry and think you were going to get away with it? But no, instead of deleting it like she asked, because on her Instagram she posted a picture being like, hey, all I want is for you guys to delete this because I don't want to be associated with you three absolute buffoons, which is so real. I wouldn't want to be associated with them either. They decided not to do that. They thought, what do we do in a time of crisis? What we do is we set up the Instagram camera in the most creepy, weird angle I've ever seen, just sat there where the three of them are sat on the sofa, kind of staring into the abyss with not a single thought behind their eye. And they debate people. They try to clear their name, which wasn't really successful, as many of them have had allegations made against them. I'm not going to speak too much on that. Go do your own research. If you have a look at the Reality Check online, it comes up with some very strange articles about some of them having been cleared of some charges. I don't know. I'm not going to go into that. Okay, that's heavy territory, but go and make that of what you will. So yeah, they do this stream. I'm not gonna lie, I did beg it to try and get onto their stream. I'm gonna hold my hand up because I knew if I could speak to them, I had a bit of a effort, a bit of a chance of drilling maybe some sense into their head. You can make your mind up to see whether you think that they actually learn from this conversation. But I'm not gonna lie, like as a preface before we get into this, two of them like were kind of easy to talk to, stupid, but easier to talk, well, kind of easier to talk to. The one that you're about to see in the brown hoodie gives me really bad vibes. Just a horrible person through and through. Didn't enjoy talking to him. Gave me bad vibes throughout the entire conversation. And I thought it would be entertaining for us today to watch me and them debate and for me to discuss what my thoughts were at the time. If you don't care, that's fair. See you later. But yeah, let's check out my video. It's weird, isn't it? We're reacting to me. Cringe. Katie thought she ate with this, not gonna lie. She thought she was in an edit.
No, she didn't want to do it. Let's do this girl. This girl looks like she's going to be interesting.
I just want to start off by saying a little bit of shade was thrown there, wasn't it? What do you mean it looked like I'm going to be interesting? I mean, we all know it's the very short bangs that people say look like I myself, and the piercings. That's fine. No tea, no shade. I think I got my own back. We'll see.
We get some guys in there.
Wait, she's in.
Oh.
Hello, you're right.
Hi, you okay?
Yeah, not bad.
Me asking if they're okay, like I give a girl, you don't care. I in case you could tell, when I started talking to them, I was like, I'm not a debater. I mean, I feel like now I am. I feel like now I could slay debates. I feel like Dean, whatever his name is, Dean Parker. I feel like him.
I just was wondering, because I watched the episode today. I did a video on it actually, and I found it really interesting because I'm somebody who comes online and talks about the industry and OF, and I am someone who's very vocal about not necessarily agreeing with it, but I'm confused as to how you guys have come away from the situation and genuinely believed that you haven't done anything wrong. And I just want to hear like a summary of why you think the way you spoke to her was like acceptable.
Right, when I tell you, my hands were like shaking, and that's so embarrassing because who am I to be scared of the Reality Check podcast? Like, they share a collective 3 brain cells. They look like your average dealer interaction in Liverpool. Like, that is the sight I have seen many times on a staircase being handed non-illegal substances, because I would never dream of doing that. Like, that's what that looks like. No offense to them, you know, like, big up, I guess. Well, no, full offense, but you know.
The premise of the podcast is we have heated debates with people from that industry. They know what they're coming here for, so that's why we don't think we did anything wrong. If she came here not knowing what it was, and it was like the first podcast we had done, and we all, you know, ganged up on her and shouted at her and all this stuff, but she knew what she was coming on for. She gave some very controversial opinions, you know, the stuff. Comparing what she does to an NHS worker, you know, saying those things is going to cause us to debate her, because I don't think if you work in the industry, you are as productive as someone who works for the NHS. And, you know, those are points that we were trying to make.
I love how they said this, but like in the video, they weren't really trying to make those points. They did this whole kind of like virtue signaling thing where they all act like they really care about NHS workers and like Tesco workers. It's like they had a f***ing hard on the entire time for meal deals. It's like, you don't really care about 9-to-5 workers. You don't really care. Like, people so often on the internet, there's this really weird like trend, right, where people pretend they care about stuff. It's like, oh, I really care about that. And like, I'm not, obviously, like, I've like called out stuff that truthfully didn't need to be called out, or was a reach, or was petty, or whatever. But like this kind of behavior where you're like pretending to care about something in defense to you being in controversy is really weird. Like, I don't think, as much as I joke about it, I think the guy in the middle with the glasses, I think he is fully aware what he's doing. I don't know. I feel like I haven't really got much to say about this. Like, let's just continue.
And then we were just having a laugh at the end because we were like, why don't you take your kids away? And she started naming places in the UK that she had travelled them to. And we were like, well, that's not taking them away. So
I think a first sign of guilt and knowing that you're in the wrong is when you just start almost like word vomiting, because in this they're literally going, well, this happened, then this happened, this happened, but they're not really elaborating on anything. They're just skimming over points to make it look like they've got this big list of things that they believe that she did wrong. And I also don't really appreciate the whole take of like, well, she knew what she was getting herself into, because then, like, okay, say that is the truth. Do you still think that makes you guys right? Do you still think that because you label yourself as assholes, oh, we're just an asshole podcast, she came onto that asshole podcast, so f*** her? It's like, well, maybe that's the case. I don't personally think it is, because I've seen Rebecca's content before. I've seen her podcast with Jackmate. She's not easily offended. She's very vulgar with the way she jokes about herself. So I don't really believe that she had this preconception that she was going to come on and you guys were going to be taking the piss. I don't really believe that. But also, like, the way you acted in that podcast is very concerning in general, because it gives this idea that you don't have the best view of women. Like, a lot of us, I think, are concerned about your overall view on women, like the way you talk to women. I mean, the fact that you've got a podcast dedicated to OF girls, it is slightly concerning to me because I don't know, I'm not 100% and I can't fact check, but there are rumours that the main guy in the middle, Sean, I think that's his name, has an OF. And now I don't know how true that is again. So I don't know how I'm meant to find that out, to be honest, either. But many people have DM'd me saying that it's funny because he has an OF. So I don't personally think you have a problem with OF. I don't think that's the case at all. I think you don't like women and you're using OF and the industry as a scapegoat to kind of vocalize said hatred towards women. I think they're going down the Andrew Tate route, but instead of like actually just doubling down, like at least with Andrew Tate, I can respect the fact that he doubles down. You guys are too embarrassed and scared to double down, that instead of doing that, you're just being like, oh, no, we just supporting Tesco workers. Like, what are you, what you want to slob all over a Tesco worker's knob? Is that the thing? I don't understand what the hard on is for that. And like, again, if you actually were like concerned for the fact that you think she was belittling Tesco workers, then you could have gone on that rant on the podcast, but you didn't. So silence your lips, young men.
Okay, well, first of all, the first thing I would say is, I don't know what your name is, with the brown hoodie. But you keep going on saying how she was degrading 9-to-5 workers. That is, like, you guys are criticizing the fact that she's taken things out of context, but I would argue that is taking things out of context because I watched the entire thing. It took me an hour to get through the entire thing, like breaking down what you were saying. She didn't say that like there was like shame in being a 9-to-5 worker. Her argument was that because you were saying she doesn't contribute to society, and she's saying how is it any less degrading to sell your time ultimately to a government? She wasn't saying like NHS workers, pieces of shit. It's like, that's not what she said, and you're taking that so people will get off your back.
So
like, you're not. Go on.
What exactly did she say?
Word for word, I wouldn't be able to like tell you.
She said there is no dignity in waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go work for someone else.
Me, when I just take things out of context, like, yeah, like I said in the video, you can take that route. You can pretend that you actually thought she was saying that NHS workers are pieces of shit. But like, boy, you know damn well. You know damn well. And also, like, why are you so mad? Like, that's all I kept thinking throughout. I was like, why are you so angry, boy? Like, chill. What, like, I get when you're, like, accused of shit you didn't do. It's, like, a very infuriating thing. Like, I understand that. But, like, sat there, like, genuinely really angry about this is not helping the idea that, like, you're low-key concerning.
So, that is saying that there is shame in doing that. There's no dignity in that. That's what she said.
That's what the paper posted as well.
So I don't know how you're saying now that she didn't say that.
No, I'm not. I understand what you're saying, but I feel like when it comes to like debates and conversations, you have to realize that I feel like you know what she was trying to say, because I can understand how you've taken it that way. But it's so obvious that it's so obvious what she was saying.
I don't know what they said there. I could have completely been mugged off. But I feel like I could genuinely have a better debate with my 10-year-old cousins. Like, I feel like that would be more effective. Talking to these was like talking to a brick wall. It was just like, I could feel my vocals going zoop into the void. Like, they weren't going anywhere. And if I'm honest, Charlotte Hayes said this. Big up Charlotte Hayes. Love her. I'll link her TikTok down below. She debated them as well. And she was saying like, oh, I feel like the one in the middle isn't actually as thick as he comes across. And I agree. But what's also weird, guys, is me and my friend Addie, again, love her, legend. Don't know if she's watching. Maybe you are. She basically got up their like history with their like different businesses. And they've had like 5 different businesses, 5 different LLCs. And I'm a bit like, what is the game here? What's going on with you guys? Something suspicious in the air. Also, another allegation / rumor / I don't fucking know, is that there's some tax going on, some suspicious tax stuff. Make that of what you will.
You get up at 7, you go do your job, you come back for such little wage. How is that good? How does that make you feel good that like your whole life is spent working and then you can retire when you're in your 60s? That's what she's trying to say.
I find it so funny looking back to when this happened, because some of the comments were just saying team you Chris Brown, and I can't lie. That is funny. That's funny. It is literally team you Chris Brown. Not great that Chris Brown also doesn't like women, but you know.
And I feel like wait, I'm talking. And I feel like what you're doing here is you've seen...
I'm sorry, at that point, I felt like, you know that Jubilee interview where she's like, I'm speaking. That's what I felt like. You can tell, like, I was picturing myself in an edit right now. I was like, oh my God, she eat. I don't know. But shout out to you guys, by the way, that do edits of me. I see them. I see all of them. And not gonna lie, they boost my ego. They do. So, love you.
In the podcast, you didn't sit there and go, hey, don't degrade 9-to-5 workers. That wasn't this big rant that you went on, and you could have done that if you felt that strongly. You didn't do that. You've only now said, hey, she was coming after 9-to-5 workers because it's making you almost seem like the good guys in this situation.
No, that was the whole argument. That was the whole premise of the argument in the moment.
But you didn't. I watched.
What does that even? What was his response then? Like, listen to what he said. What are you saying? What does that mean?
You weren't going off on this big angry tangent about how she's disrespecting 9-to-5 workers. You didn't do that.
We were comparing her, what she provides to society, to what a bin worker provides.
Okay, but do you see the irony as 3 men with mics sat there calling a woman a hoe, being like, hair is unattractive, like bushes are unattractive, like that? What do you think that's contributing to society?
I feel like that ginger guy, Ed Sheeran, Ginger Santa Claus, whatever you want to call him, like, I feel like he just doesn't need to be there. Like, he doesn't really say much. And interestingly, if you watch his face for a lot of the debate, there are many times where he looks like he wants to laugh, and it's like, I know he knows that he is sat with 2 clowns. Now, I'm not letting him off lightly either, because, like, you made the like, if it was me, right, who would release that podcast, and I was that ginger guy, because he didn't really say much, he could have saved himself. I would have been like, fuck you guys, I ain't getting involved with this shit. But no, he decided to sit there and... Do you guys have any PR skills? Like, I know I'm not one to talk. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. At the end of the day, everybody online are humans online. We're not perfect, and I get that. And I just think these clowns, it's so different to me, because it's not just a little mistake. It's so glaringly obvious how they feel about women. It's just so obvious, and it's just sad. Like, this is, and I know a lot of people, by the way, they're like, well, Kate, how's your content any different? Because you monetize talking about OF, and I completely get that point. You know, that's an argument you can make till the cows come home. But at the end of the day, I think I'm on the right side of history. I don't degrade the women that I'm talking about. I unless they're like actually like horrible women that have done terrible things, then I probably will make jokes, obviously. But when it comes to like just regular nice women who haven't done anything wrong, I'm respectful. And I think it's really unfortunate for people, like, not to be like, oh, me, because I know this isn't about me. But in terms of like how I have so many fucking brain dead losers coming over to me being like, she's a swerf, you're a swerf, you're a swerf. Like, I see it everywhere on Reddit or on Twitter. Like, it's just like, give it a rest. And the reason why I get called stuff like this, and many other women get called swerfs when we talk about sex work being potentially bad, is because people can't differentiate people like these 3 morons who are the type of men to say only detected, opinion rejected, and me who's saying, hey, I love women and I want women to not be objectified, therefore I don't think the industry, something made by men, is good for women. Like, people can't differentiate that then, because it's people like this who don't know how to critique, like, and I think they do actually. I do think they do know how to critique people properly. They just hate women.
I have absolutely zero problem with people coming online to almost voice their opinions on OF and how the industry can be bad.
Again, not to reach, because like I know it's not that deep, but like bro could have at least been listening to me instead of scrolling on his phone when I'm talking. But like, go off, I guess. Not that deep.
How can be bad. There's nothing wrong with doing that. You can do that. But the way that you did it is completely ineffective. And the problem is with people like you is it makes people who criticize the industry look even worse, because people assume that we can't criticize the industry without being misogynist.
And you understand,
wait,
you're defending a girl.
Boy. I'm almost done, and then you can speak.
I do. You know what clip I had in mind when I said that was, you know, the Piers Morgan and Kanye West clip. Editor, put it in.
Hey boy, regret. Hey boy,
Don't call me boy.
Kanye West is definitely not the person to be quoting, but I don't know why I find that clip funny. So, and plus, like, you're acting like little children, you know. I know you're fully grown men. You should be acting better, but you're acting like kids, and it's embarrassing.
You could have easily had a very, like, constructive argument and conversation with bringing up how you feel about the industry, but that's not what you guys are interested in. Come on, I'm a creator. I know how it is. You're on the grind. You want views, but you can't sit there and be like, oh, nothing for society, and then use people's asses in your thumbnails, because what does that say about you? Like, it's hypocritical. You're just being a hypocrite.
No, how was that being a hypocrite?
No.
I was challenging her argument.
He's adding 0 to the conversation. Like, please be coherent. Like, and I know you're probably watching this, guys, because like you're actually pathetic and you want clout. Whatever. We're all clout chasers. That's the truth. But I said that you're a hypocrite because you call women wastes of space. You say that OF is blah blah blah, disgusting, but then you use women's in your thumbnails. And like, again, there's a difference between just using pictures of people where they happen to be showing skin or I don't know, but then you're like actually just look at the thumbnails. Like, they are so obviously crafted to get views based off of women's bodies, which is ironic because you're criticizing that.
Because she said...
No. I wanted to reply to what I just said. I'm not talking about the NHS shit.
So you do understand that you're defending a girl who is outright pushing a narrative onto little children, because this is an app full of little children, that...
Yes, babes. And YouTube doesn't have children on it. And like, you're talking about this is an app full of little children. Let me just show your Instagram right now. Your Instagram is full of OF women on your podcast. What are you talking about? Clown. Oh, the hypocrisy. Like,
being an NHS worker and being anyone that has a normal job is a waste.
That's NHS. That's NHS. And that's him. Like, come up for air, brother. Breathe. Like, you can stop guzzling all over that NHS fucking milk. Like, chill out. They're not going to give you a discount. It's not that deep. How is it that you guys don't even work for the NHS, but there's people in the comments who work for the NHS who are like, it's literally not dignifying to be giving my all, saving people's lives, looking after cancer patients, looking after the elderly, looking after people, children with chronic illnesses, children that are born with horrible defects, and then being paid a embarrassment of a wage while the Tory-ass government are wiping their asses with everybody's dignity. That is what she was saying, and anybody with a brain cell can tell that. And I don't see any NHS workers voicing how upset they are. It's like when 14-year-old, 15-year-old like girls on Instagram get offended on behalf of everybody else and no one really cares but them. That's what this is like.
And that you should start doing sex work. That's the narrative
she did not say that.
She said there's no dignity in it. Imagine if you was a 16-year-old girl working at Tesco's and your parent, there's no dignity in doing that work. But there's dignity in doing her work.
I only just a year ago managed to quit my job. I've worked since I was 15 doing jobs. So I don't know when the last time you guys worked like normal 9-to-5s or whatever.
That sounded like a dig. It genuinely wasn't a dig. I just thought it was really interesting to have these clowns harp on about how offended they are on behalf of a group of people that they can't even relate to anymore. I feel like it's more offensive to imply that they should be offended by that. Like, you're literally, you are perpetuating this idea that NHS workers would be offended by that. Like, NHS workers are what, lesser than? Like, you are. It's just ironic.
I know damn well that like she's referring to the fact you get up at 7, you drive to your job, you have very little time, you're not going to be able to retire. Like, creators have the luxury of making, a lot of money.
Just stop calling them creators. She's a sex worker.
Yeah, like, I don't know that. She's still a creator. Like, you create work, do you not? Like, you're not a creator, then you do podcasting. Like, fine. Like, if you want to you're nitpicking the most dumb stuff. Like, what, you thought you ate with that comment? Like, what did you just prove? Absolutely begs.
You're trying to tell
I'm talking about
little children.
Creators in general. I'm not
trying to tell little children that sex work is better than going and getting a job, and we don't agree. At
what point did she say that children should go do work? I actually don't recall that being said. I love when people on the internet, like, they have this crazy talent at, like, and I've had it done to me before. Like, they'll see a situation, right? They'll suck what they think happened. They'll reword it into this lovely narrative that makes it look worse, and then they'll go, yeah, well, that happened, so eat shit. And it's like, right, okay, we're just going to completely remove context, are we? Nice one.
Clearly never seen listen, I've done so many videos.
I was going to say you've clearly never seen my YouTube, and then I realised that sounds really egotistical because most people haven't, because I'm no one. Like, I'm nothing special, and I realised as I was saying it that it sounded quite arrogant, so I changed the way I was going with it.
Voice my concern and my opinion, saying that, like, I don't think is good for society. I don't think only is good for women. I agree with that. But I've never come online and done it the way you've done it. And that's why I haven't had this kind of situation, because... Huh?
Someone commented saying we all look like dealers.
Sorry, carry on. What was you saying?
I'm just saying, like, I think the problem is, I don't think there's anything wrong in this day and age to be opposed to OF and because like I've said loads of times, there are issues with it. And I certainly would not persuade young women to go into that industry. But there's ways of talking about that. And you completely missed the mark. And like, I know as a YouTuber, you have so many opportunities before you upload to think about it. And you actually saw that video, you saw her cry and you thought, yeah, that's mint, I'll post that. And that's the part that I just can't understand. I don't know why you're looking
No,
so
but we also
confused.
saw what she was saying about with these controversial opinions. I thought, no, people need to see this because she's trying to tarnish our name.
Boy, you... I don't understand why you keep saying this. Right, okay.
I feel like you've tarnished your name so much more by posting it and then refusing to apologize. Like, am I like living in a different reality? The lack of self-awareness is astounding, and I don't think I'll ever, I'm happy I had this interaction because it just makes me feel better about myself. It's like, there are people out there that genuinely function with this mindset, and it's kind of scary to think that this is the way that they deal with women in general.
You're in a situation where you're getting flamed, right? And look, I've had a controversy online before. I get it. It's not nice. But you're basically taking one thing that she said that you can run with, that you think will get the general public's...
No, we've spoken about everything.
You haven't even addressed it.
What?
You haven't even addressed it.
Yeah, well, this is the point I was trying to make by, mentioning controversies and when I've been in a controversy or whatever. It's like, I don't think you're allowed. People will disagree with this, but I stand by it. You're allowed to defend yourself, even if you're under fire. You're allowed to defend yourself for the things that you believe you are having the right to defend yourself over. But what you don't do is make something up to defend yourself based. They're making up that they were bothered at the time that she was talking about NHS workers. Like, they didn't harp on with that narrative. They never went, oh, that's horrible, why would you say that? They didn't do that because they didn't think that at the time. They've just thought, what can we say to make ourselves look like good people? I'm getting fucking warm, I need to open a window.
She said, oh no, she didn't mean to say that.
Address what?
No,
the NHS thing?
No, okay, getting up at 6 a.m. has no dignity. Tesco's staff workers don't have dignity. Address that, please.
He kept saying address it as if I hadn't addressed it. I addressed it so many times. I just wasn't addressing it the way he wanted me to address it because it didn't suit his narrative. And I just wanted to say, like, dude, do you get how arguments work? You can't keep telling me to address something that I am addressing, just not the way you want me to. I just kept thinking, like, what do you mean, bro? I've addressed it like 7 times. Like, she didn't mean it that way. And honestly, she's got a point. Like, I don't remember feeling particularly dignified working for Burger King at a service station on my own at the front when I would have creepy people come in at like 2 a.m. and try and hit on me, or when I was almost kidnapped in the stall and I was being paid minimum wage and then had to like beg for furlough. Like, I don't particularly feel like that was a very dignifying experience for me. She didn't say, NHS workers, they're all scumbags, they're a waste of space, which is what you said about her. It's actually not that hard, I fear, but go off.
You keep saying, oh no, she didn't mean to say that. That's not what she meant. Address the comment, please.
Address the comment. Okay.
He literally just proved the fact that I had addressed the comment by saying that's not what she meant, but then asked me to address it. Like, I've addressed it, just not the way you want me. Like, yeah, no, you're right, actually, I'm addressing it right now. She was in the wrong, and I'm here to debate for fun, like...
Fair enough, I will try and address the comment, but I'm just trying to figure out a way to address it when I personally believe you've just taken it a different way. And now, it's fair enough, you can argue that you genuinely believe that she was, I guess, berating 9-to-5 workers. You can take that route. I can't stop you doing that. But my personal belief, and most people here watched that and didn't take it that way. So it's hard for me to address it from your perspective when I really don't.
I love the guy smiling in the middle. This is what I mean. I'm convinced that 2 of them genuinely know it's a losing battle because they know we're right. I'm convinced. It's only that absolute mug at the end that's like seething with anger that refuses to see any kind of middle ground.
I'm not asking you to address it from my perspective. Address it face value. Address what she said.
So if she said, if what you are saying is true and she basically acted like 9-to-5 workers are a waste of space. They were your words. Like
no.
Yeah. That's what you said.
Hold on, please. Address it. She said, people address this.
I'm trying.
People who wake up at 6 a.m. have no dignity. I just want you to address that. Not what people think. Not my opinion. Address that statement.
Well, if she said then that 9-to-5 workers have no dignity, then I would disagree. But that's not the context. Context is so important. You can't take, if we were to go through your videos and take statements and be like, address this, and it's out of context, you would be like, well, why the should I address that? Because it's not in context. And you have taken it out of context because you know, like, not gonna lie, watching your podcast, I did get the impression that maybe you guys weren't the brightest, but I know that you can reach, into your.
I love that that guy wasn't gonna smile until his friend started laughing. Like, that was my favorite part. It was like, you weren't gonna laugh until they laughed. Like, lighten up, dude. Like, your life is gonna be so miserable. I mean, it already is. It's going to be so hard to come back from this too. And like, I'm trying genuinely to see the better in people and think maybe they will come back from this and improve their content, but I know they won't. And Charlotte Hayes, by the way, she made a really good point. She said, like, it's very obvious you're going to take the Andrew Tate route, but at least commit to it. Don't do the dumbass virtue signaling stuff because no one gives a
souls and try and see it from everybody else's perspective. I feel like
we are pretty thick, to be fair. Look at us. This is who you're arguing with. We're dumb. Like, why are you wasting your time?
I personally think that that was a slightly manipulative little thing there. Hey! Oh my god, it's the perfect time to introduce my baby. Oh, I love you. You don't want to see these clowns, do you, baby? You don't want to witness these clowns. What do you think about them? Guys, say hello to Badger. Everyone say hello to Badger in the comments. Hey, it's okay. Go on then. You're going to have to leave because you're going to cause me mayhem. We just adopted him from Dubai, out of all places. Anyway, continue.
From a PR standpoint as well, you started the live stream.
Now I'm intelligent.
What was you saying?
I think from a PR standpoint too, guys, you started the live stream by going, these false allegations, like, I completely get if you want to clear your name, because I'm not getting into that. I don't know what that's all about.
It's not an allegation. It's clear.
That's fine.
It was 9 years ago.
Well, that's none of my business. I haven't researched enough, so I'm not going to give a comment on it. But I just think, like, why are you going through all these efforts? Why don't you just apologise and delete it? Like, it would be better for you.
Because he was Chris is stupid.
Can you stop bringing up this bad comment? Everywhere we get it.
Because to apologise, we would have to not agree with what we said. We do agree with what we said. Our points are still very valid. What I would say is we apologise if we talked over her at points and we couldn't let her, speak sometimes. I apologise about.
Yeah, and it's like also they're forgetting that the reason that she stormed off was when they were starting to make jokes about how like her kid hadn't seen other areas of the country and like had only been on motorhome holidays to the UK, and they started laughing about that. And I really looked at the situation and I was like, they're acting like she knew what she was getting herself into, but making jokes and just mocking a mother, like a single mum, it's just so like, I could be the thickest skinned person and that would get to me. Like, as soon as you're laughing about someone's kind of kids and the relationship with the kids and her mothering abilities, that's just like a low blow. And it was very obvious that she would get upset by that. And you guys still don't think that that was like a wrong thing to do. And then your excuse is, oh, well, we weren't laughing at that. It's because we asked if she had been anywhere outside the UK and she didn't answer. Like, no, she hadn't finished the story. And the irony is here, you tried to talk over me multiple times. You just don't let people speak. And that's not a way to learn.
Going back on what we said, no, I agree with everything that I said. I don't think work provides anything to society. I think it damages society. And I don't think you're a if you prefer to have a shape.
Oh yeah. Okay. So can we talk about that quickly? Because I've spoke about this before. She didn't say that if you are someone who has a preference for shaven, that you're a nonce. She didn't say that blanket statement. Again, it's another thing that you've taken out of context. She said if you are somebody who says, and I can't remember which one of you morons it was, but one of you turned around and genuinely said, because hair is unattractive, pubes are unattractive. And to me, and most women out there, that is a very concerning statement, because it's okay to say, oh, I like my women shaven. Like, that's okay. I might have my opinion on that statement, but that's fine. That's your preference, right? But saying that blanket statement, hair on women is unattractive, is kind of creepy.
You like guys with beards?
So what the has beards got to do with it?
My boyfriend has a beard. Okay. Yeah, I like beards.
So if I made a statement saying the only difference between a man and a woman is if a man and a boy is if a man has a beard, is that a statement that you agree with?
I don't really think that's the same. If you're going to do that, you need to talk about the same thing, which is men's pubes, not men's beards. You need to focus on what we're talking about.
Let's just say that. Let's just say you got a boyfriend who has a beard, yeah?
Yeah.
It's like they're not even listening to me. I just explained why a beard isn't relevant. A beard isn't relevant. We're talking about pubes. And then he goes, yeah, let's just say beard. No, let's not say beard, because beard isn't the same. Oh.
If you had a preference where you wanted your man shaved, does that make you No, it's a preference, right? At the end of the day...
I love how they took my look of confusion and silence as a gotcha. No, I was just trying to compute how to reply to such stupidity. They are not the same thing. I hate it when people make loose comparisons that aren't the same at all. It's not the same. Like, I wouldn't say that it's pedophilic for a woman to say they want their man to shave their beard. No. Okay, that's fine.
But you didn't say that. But if I said every man should shave their beard because otherwise it's disgusting, would you not be like, that's a little bit...
your preference. You don't like men that have beards. It's your preference.
But I don't... Okay, I can see what you're trying to say, but I feel like if you're going to use an argument like that, it needs to be the exact same situation, which is talking about men's beards, not their beards. Because you can't just flip it to talk about facial hair.
So you genuinely agree with the point that if you prefer all women to be shaved down below, you're...
No, not that you're... Well, first of all, to be a you have to be convicted. So, no, that's not the case, obviously. And second of all, like, no, I don't think you are inherently a pedophile for that one thing. No, I think it is a little bit suspicious.
And I still stand by that, by the way. I do think it's weird if you, like they did, come on a podcast and say that all women should be shaved, hair's disgusting, and then call it a preference, because a preference is saying, I want my woman to be shaved, which we can still draw opinions on. You know, it's not illegal to have opinions on whether that's slightly creepy or not. But you didn't say that either. Like, you acting like you went, yeah, I don't know, I prefer my women to be shaved because X, Y, Z, which I don't really think men should have opinions on that anyway, but like, you can, because that's the way of the world. Like, I feel like you should just be lucky to be there. If I'm honest, it's some hair. And if you are going to have a preference for being shaved, I want to make sure there's not a single hair on your body. But like, again, we didn't talk about preference. You said that hair is disgusting. So pop off, king.
To say, I only like my women clean shaved. I think it's like...
It's suspicious to have a preference.
No. But you didn't say... I think it was you. I can't... To be honest, you all sound the same and you all give the same opinions and they're all kind of brain dead, so it's hard to differentiate you. But one of you sat there and you said, it's disgusting. Because I remember in my video that I literally filmed it today. That's why I remember so many parts. I sat there and I was like, why would you say that? Like, there's a difference between having a preference and saying it's disgusting if you don't... one of you... Who said it? Come on, own up. Because I know it was one of you. You said the words, it's disgusting and unattractive.
I literally saw the ginger guy and him look at each other. It was him. It was the guy in the brown hoodie. Oh, it's so funny to look back at that now. I love that.
No, but I'd say it right now. I think
the guy with the ginger beard. You remember? I can tell by your face. You remember who said it.
You watched it, not me.
I don't think pussy.
Bro really said, you were watching the video, not me, as if he wasn't there. You mean you were there?
Hair is attractive. What's the big...
He doesn't think hair is attractive with a full ass soup catcher on his face. What? You have a big ass bushy beard.
Bad statement about that.
But I'm not saying. But listen, I'm not saying that you're a for that statement. I'm just saying I personally think that it...
world we live in now, how when you say that you prefer a woman to have a shaved nunny compared to a hairy nunny, you're almost a... It's mad, mate.
But then again, but when you say, oh, if you do prefer that, you're a... everyone just glosses over that. Oh no, she didn't mean that. It was taken out of context.
She didn't say. She didn't say if you're a pedophile.
I just saw a comment that said they hear what they want to hear, which is so true. They're not even listening to me at this point. It's like I'm talking to them and this is what they see. Yeah, so I feel like it's slightly weird when you say that because it's kind of perpetuating the idea that you think that hair is dirty on all women, even though we're born with hair, so that's kind of weird.
Like bald, you're borderline. That's what she said.
I think she's trying to make the like. You've seen the stuff
online. I think it's funny how like you don't address anything she says. You just address what we say.
I'm trying to.
You just gloss over
it. Wait, dude.
We got to switch it. We got to switch it. All right. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
That's fine. Bye.
Anyway, so they kicked me off because they couldn't handle the heat. And then they got a man on which just tickled their balls and sucked their belly. Like, genuinely, they just got me off to bring someone on that was like, saying that I want a shaved nunny isn't weird. Like, okay, wow. So much for civilized intellectual conversations. And that's coming from me, not an intellect. But yeah, like, sure, bring on a man that's gonna fucking guzzle your... Like, what am I meant to do about that? Like, bringing on, like, and they were like, bring on a man. Like, don't bring on a man. Keep the men away from this. Not, to be fair, that I know that's a stupid thing to say. There were a lot of men in the comments that were very much on my side and very much understand that this is ridiculous. So that was just that was me joshing. All right. Anyway, I'm actually fucking exhausted. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Thank you for partaking in this drama. I love a bit of drama, I guess. I don't know who the fuck I think I am watching myself debate for a video, but you guys asked for it in the live stream I did after, so don't get on me if you're complaining. Cue the egotistical comments. Honestly, I don't blame you at this point. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.